Hi, welcome to Wallflowers, and a happy new year to everybody, and thanks for joining us. Just a few things that we've been talking about and noting down, just things to keep an eye out in 2024, things that are happening that could be detrimental to us. So we'll start with what's going on now. This week is the World Economic Forum, a meeting in Davos again, as they do every year. I haven't seen much of it, but I've seen little bits. As usual, it's the climate change again, and the climate change argument. Yet there's thousands of private jets flying in there from all over the world, with all the motorcades flying around the city and all the security, and not doing much for climate change, but telling us don't do as we do as we say. So I did see one person who was speaking on the stage, and she was calling for a ban on farming and fishing because it's detrimental to the climate change. So she wants farmers to be fined if they do farming on the land, and she wants fishermen to be banned and fined if they go out fishing. So they don't want us eating, they don't want us travelling. So just something to keep an eye on. I'll have to look a bit more into that as the days go by. I did see President Zelensky was there begging for money, for more millions to carry on his war, because it seems that his war seems to have fell down the pecking order. There's other wars going on now that are a bit more relevant than what his is, so he was there begging for more money. So another thing to keep an eye on is the escalating wars. I mean, we've still got Russia, Ukraine going on, although you don't hear much about that now on the news. There's in the past week, there's Pakistan and Iran that have been firing missiles at each other. That could only escalate. We've also got China, Taiwan still there in the background. That could bubble up in 24, as well as Israel and the Palestinian situation still going on, with Lebanon being drawn into it, with Hezbollah backing Hamas. And there's also the Red Sea troubles going on with Yemen, who are also backing Hamas against Israel, and the UK and the US are in the Middle East bombing Yemen now, trying to get the Houthis to back down, which will only increase the prices of imports to the countries, because the boats can't go through the Red Sea and they've got to divert. So that takes an extra 2 weeks for goods to be coming into countries, so the prices are only going to go up on that. We've also got Syria still going on. Syria must have been going on for about the last 10 years, with US, Russia, Turkey still in there, all bombing each other and having a proxy war in Syria. So another thing to keep an eye on is the Good Friday Agreement in Northern Ireland, because that could blow up again. There's been no Northern Irish government for I think over a year now, and people are getting agitated over that, the Good Friday Agreement in Northern Ireland. So the troubles in Northern Ireland could kick off again. So, and other things to keep an eye on are the elections. A lot of general elections are happening this year. We've got the UK general election in May, June sometime. We've got France, their general election is June. We've also got Russia in March, but I'm sure that's already been decided who's won that one, as well as Ukraine as well. Their general election is supposed to be in March, but Zelensky is supposed to ban that. So that result looks already known. Plus, we've got the US general election in November, whether Trump is allowed to stand or whether he's picked or whatever, whether Biden's still around at that time. Plus, we've got Canada and Germany the year after in 25, so things could be changing. But as we say, the two cheeks of the same bottom, as we say.
That was very polite of you.
So things might not change on that front.
Two wings of the same bird.
Yeah. We've also got a few inquiries that are happening as well, especially in the UK. We've got when we had the lockdown for that thing that happened to people, we've got that inquiry with government ministers being called. It's an independent inquiry. It was going on just before Christmas. Boris Johnson was called to it. Richi Sunak was called to it. Nick Hancock was called to it. And they all seem to say the same. I don't know. I can't remember. So that inquiry is still going on. We've also got the personal protection equipment inquiry going on, where government ministers gave out contracts to friends, family, a lot of corruption going on there. Millions and billions were given out to their friends, to companies that they were on the boards, where they were directors or CEOs of.
Jobs for the boys.
Yeah. So a lot of, not just government ministers, but a lot of politicians made a lot of money out of the personal protection equipment contracts. So we've got an inquiry into that going on at the minute. We've also got an inquiry going on, or calls for an inquiry, into the post office. Now, 20, 30 years ago, a lot of post office managers were jailed or were fined thousands and thousands of pounds because when they done the audit at the end of the year, they were 1,000, 20,000, 50,000 short, and they were getting blamed for stealing the money. A lot of them lost their houses, a lot of them were jailed, and it turns out it was the software on the computer program that was doing all the tax returns and all the audits and stuff was flawed. So we've got that inquiry going on, and the government have apologised. We've also got the contaminated blood, where they give a lot of contaminated blood out to people who got sick through it. We've got that inquiry going on. A government minister already apologised a couple of days ago for the length of time it's taken for the compensation to the victims of that. So hopefully that'll be speeded up a bit. We've also got calls for Boris Johnson when he was, before he was Prime Minister, he was Chancellor and the Mayor of London, wasn't he? He had ties to Russia, he had ties to the oligarchs in Russia, and he went over for a holiday. He was invited over, getting, I think it was something like £500,000, £250,000 to go and play tennis with one of the oligarchs in Russia who was a big KGB agent. So whatever he got up to over there, allegedly, behind the scenes after the tennis match in his hotel room, he was meant to be getting blackmailed by the KGB when he was Prime Minister of the UK. So we've got an inquiry, or calls for an inquiry into that. We've also got inquiries called for the Bidens in Ukraine and how much they took out of there, and all the biological laboratories that were there. So that's one to keep an eye on as well. And also this week, Richi Sunak got his plan voted through to send migrants that are coming across the channel from various parts of the world into the UK, to send them straight out to Rwanda and banish them to Rwanda, even though that's against international law. He seems to have got it through the UK Parliament, and now he's pushing to get it through the Lords, which will then become law in the UK. which will turn.
So any immigrants that come into Europe will be shipped straight out to Rwanda?
Only into the UK. They'll be shipped straight to Rwanda for some strange reason. So there'll be inquiries and a lot of battling going on about that. We've also got a lot of strikes as well coming up. A lot of doctors and nurses over here are on strike. They've been on strike for the last couple of years now. Same with bus, train drivers, civil servants, teachers, and also refuse workers are planning to go on strike in the next couple of months. And some Asda superstore workers are going on strike as well. So that's something to keep an eye out again. Plus, we've got the poverty getting worse. We've got possible food shortages coming up with things that are happening in the world. We've got food increases. We've got
price increases.
Yeah, the price of the food, the cost of living going up, wages not going up, rising taxes to pay for all these wars and to pay for anything that they want, their wages. We've also got energy price rises coming as well. We've just had an energy price rise in January over here, so no doubt it'll go up again March, April, then probably go down during the summer again, and then towards September, October it'll go up again. We know how they work. Plus the way the world's going with the race wars and trying to pit people against each other and the division. So just a few things to look out for that could possibly happen in 2024. Well, we know a lot of them will, some of them may not, but I just wanted to say, just keep your eyes peeled and don't be surprised with anything that happens. Well, on that note, I'd like to wish you a Happy New Year again. I will see you soon. Thanks for joining us. Bye.